Good morning, welcome back to Flat Cap Garage. Today I'm going to carry on working on a lovely little A30 here. The handbrake doesn't work, well, it doesn't work very well. It will not hold the car on a hill, and you can pull it up as high as you like. It won't hold the car, and then when you let it off, it will stick, therefore slowing the car down. I'm going to jack this up, get underneath it, because it has not got the original handbrake set up. But before I do, I'm going to jack that up and show you how it was originally, because this car is not original anymore. To begin with, on the original car, the handbrake is here. And when that handle is pulled, it rotates this rod, pulls this one into this cylinder. The handbrake works with the single hydraulic cylinder for the rear end, with this cage around it. On that note, when you push the brake pedal, the brake master cylinder sends fluid only to this cylinder. The handbrake works the cage. The foot brake works the hydraulic, the piston, which again moves the cage. Whether you use the handbrake or the foot brake, it moves this cage, pivots this lever, goes through this cable, rod to one side and rod to the other side. That's it. There are no hydraulics on the rear of the vehicle. Both these vehicles, that one and the van, have disc brakes on the front, exactly the same. It's just the rear that's different. But this is how they are different on that. In this car, the handbrake is here. So from the central handle, it runs a cable through this tube out to underneath the car. The cable runs underneath the car back here to this mechanism, and like on the van, it uses rods to the brake shoes, but this car also has hydraulic brakes on the rear. Why is this car so different? Well, I built it the way I wanted to build it. I wanted this car to have a bit more power, and in time it will do. So, parts. The handbrake handle is from a Rover Mini, the later Mini from the 80s and 90s that everyone should know. The cable is one of two fitted to a Morris Minor. A Morris Minor would have had a handbrake handle with a crossbar and two cables going on it, one to either wheel. I've just used the single cable on this car. The back axle, along with all of the suspension on this car, comes from an MG Midget. I wanted to put hydraulic brakes on the rear, just for a little bit of added security. Unlike on the A35 van, the original setup, which I've still got for this, tucked away in storage up away somewhere. If anything happens to the rear mechanism while driving, you don't have any rear brakes. At least with this setup, you've got a dry system, the handbrake setup, and a wet system, the hydraulic setup. The axles and half shafts and the whole axle itself from an MG Midget are stronger, in theory, I haven't tested it, are stronger than the original A30-35 setup. And equally, when I put new floors in this, it was just easier putting a central handbrake than trying to rig up the original door side handbrake. I've still got all the original bits if I ever want to put it back to that, but I probably will never do that. as I said a little bit earlier, the front brakes on this car and that car are both identical. They're both disc brakes from MG Midgets. So this car, when you hit the brake pedal, my God, does it stop quickly. That one, not so much because it's old and tired and worn out, but that will get worked on later on. So my plan with the handbrake is to make it work a bit better. As when underneath the car, the handbrake cable, where it's coiled, there's too much internal friction going on. And then this whole setup likes to get stuck and holds the handbrake on. So I'm going to delete all of this. And what am I going to replace it with? Technology from a bicycle. Because there's enough going on in this car anyway. Welcome to the storeroom. On a push bike, they have pinchy brakes. Like that. So when you pull the brake lever, it pulls just one single cable. The cable that comes out here. But the cable pulls both sides. The internal cable here pulls this side of the caliper setup, while the outer casing of the cable through this little mechanism pulls on that side, and you get effective braking on both sides of the wheel. And that is what I'm going to replicate under here. I'm going to disconnect the cable where it mounts on here, do away with all this rod, put this cable directly onto this brake shoe, so the cable will pull on that brake shoe. The cable casing will be mounted to this rod, which will connect to the other brake shoe. Cut it to length, make a little mount round about here to mount the cable to it, and when you pull the handle, it will in effect pull both sides together. It will stretch this cable out so it's not kinked on itself, and it will do away with all of the unnecessary mechanics. Simplify it. There's me saying that. If I wanted it simple, I would have left this car as standard. Then that would have been a little bit boring, wouldn't it? Right. Cue the music. Go find some nuts to weld on. Okay, here's how this is going to work. Got my bracket here, this is where the cable is going to mount. Got my rod going to the other side of the car. I've got two nuts just here, which I'm going to weld to the bracket. Therefore I can still adjust this rod if need to. I can lock the nut off on this side. I've got a lock nut which I can wind down and lock against it on this side, as I have here to stop that rod twisting as I'm driving. Once that's done, we can connect it to either side of the car, maybe a little bit of paint, and we're good to go. Right, that's turned on, mask up, and go. Put my haircut since I last wore this, but it's fit anymore. Trip the electrics. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but what does it matter? It's going underneath the back of a car. Put a bit of paint on it so it looks a little bit smarter for when this thing gets MOT'd. Doesn't need an MOT, but it's going to get one when I feel like it. And should be able to hold itself on the hill too. Let's install it. Let's see if it works. I'd say that works. Just going to tighten up all the fittings now. Tighten everything up, make sure it's all locked up, and then it's just, I think, a little bit of refinement on the handle, but job done. One more thing I will do is when it's tight, I will do a stall test on it. You'll see what that is. Okay, time for a test. I'm not going to go out on a test drive today, I don't need to. What I'm going to do is a stall test. So I'm going to run the engine. This is up on the stand in a minute, so I'm going to run the engine, put it in second gear, not touch the throttle, and pull the handbrake up slowly. And if it locks the wheels up and stalls the engine, it's a good handbrake. If it doesn't, I've got more adjusting to do. I think that worked. Let's do it again. Second gear. I've got a good handbrake. It's nice when you get a job done. There's plenty more to do to this little car, but for today, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoy it, come back for some more. If you don't, just keep scrolling, I guess. This little car and me will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.